Hey guys, it is Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine, and it is July 30th, Saturday. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon where I am, and just wanted to make a video. I want to start it off because I always forget, and I get kind of pinched for time towards the end. But please subscribe to my channel, share my videos. I really want to get this information out. Things are starting to kind of, really click for the TI community. And I was just last night I was having a conversation after, the Friday night conference call, with a young man who, was having the same experiences, and we could talk in detail about it. It's just amazing to talk to somebody who, had such an in-depth knowledge. And I think that's just the majority of the TI community now can really talk about this stuff and know what's going on. And it was really cool. It's complicated conversation about how the remote neural monitoring and V2K work, and the overlaying images that they can use electromagnetic frequencies and overlay into your brain. So I mean, it's awful because we're talking about that, and it's like nobody outside of that. It's hard to make them believe, or if they do believe, they're going to be covering it up. But good at the same time, because it seems like the whole TI community is just becoming so much more knowledgeable. So now is really the time to push, and if you are getting stalked, wow, and I look really tired. But it was just it was refreshing. And the conference call was very refreshing. That's kind of what I wanted to, talk about in my video. First of all, I just want to say, Linda, just an amazing moderator. These moderators are so amazing, and I just wanted to, she was dealing with, some perpetrators who were, putting on noises, and, a lot of people who wanted to ask questions or kind of discuss other topics when we were, trying to listen to David, and she just handled it so gracefully. Just a very graceful, intelligent, just awesome, just I don't know how else to say it, just awesome woman. And I just wanted to, tell y'all that these moderators are so good, and just I don't know if she's watching this, just let her know she's amazing, and just the way she reacts to all this is really an example, just a shining example. I also, I'll go ahead. So David has been updating everybody about his walk. David Voits, and he's doing an awesome job. He's just such a fighter, hanging in there, and he's keeping the walk going. He was talking a little bit about, kind of the way that you should be in this, and I agree with him on a lot of it. And for what he's talking about, it's he's exactly right. He's saying how you react to this is kind of how the program is going to be, how it's going to be put into effect on you, I guess, is the best way I can say it right now. He said to keep a positive mindset, to go out into the community, to go to socialize, and these are things I have to work on, so I'm not saying like I do all these things perfectly. He said if you keep a positive mindset, it's a really good thing, because they'll feed on the aggression that you're giving to them, and the V2K and the remote neural monitoring will respond. I have to kind of say, though, that, at the beginning of my stalking and targeting, I was very positive. I'm still positive, but I have to kind of say that if you are positive and you do have humor, well, with me, in my case, they've kind of just tortured me physically to try and get me out of that. So I agree with him in a certain respect that how you deal with this and a positive mindset is important, but also we have to look at the danger of it. Even if you are like that, this program is so corrupt and non-transparent that they will physically torture you to try and get you out of that. So you got to keep on keep on going back to that positivity. I do have to say that, and I look super tired. I slept in my enclosure last night, so things weren't too bad. No remote neural monitoring, messing up my lungs or anything that I know of. They may have done it before I woke up, but I didn't. I was not aware of that. They were just hitting me on the sides of the head, kind of in this area of the jaw and on the sides of my head. But what was I gonna say? But it was a great conference call. Just talked about a lot of stuff. I'm gonna do a video, I think either today or tomorrow, probably tomorrow, showing how this Android app on the Android phone works for detecting EMF, and it's called Ghost EMF. I think Ghost EMF. And the really cool thing about this, and I'm kind of playing around with it. It has an x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. And when these lines when they come together, you are kind of determining where that beam is coming from. The only thing is, like, on one side, it's like I thought I picked it up where it was coming from, but then I turned it to the other side and I kind of read that, so it might just be giving the direction of the beam. But I'm going to show, I'm going to try and, use it a lot more today, get it down, and then show y'all a demonstration so you can get that. And I'm going to try and find something on the iPhone that has these three little lines, and it kind of can pinpoint the direction where the directed energy is coming from. Not quite sure about, like, if it, because me and James talk about this, that it should show you where the piece of equipment or the weapon is. And I thought I saw it on one side because the lines came together, and it made sense that it would have been coming from that direction. Then I turned it to the other wall, and I found the same thing from a beam that was coming at me from that direction, but I think it was a remote beam. So I need to do a little bit more study on this, but I'll tell you what, even if it's not showing exactly, if you are being hit remotely and it's giving you a direction of where those beams are coming from, it's still just a phenomenal tool. If we all got this stuff, we would really have our stalkers on the run. We'd really be giving them some trouble, because they would have to move things around, and we would just have them more kind of having to work harder. It would be a great thing. I did want to talk about, and there's a change light on me, and my brakes are not doing so good. I almost wanted to do some vehicular stalking, but I kind of wanted to show my face. I think I was getting so fat because I kept eating these fried shrimp, and I was just eating so many of them. I was just like eating them all the time. Just fried foods, I think, make me very fat. I look a little bit better. I'm gonna do this. I had, the conversation that I had after the conference call, and on the conference call, we were talking about defenses. And this young man, he was like, I don't really believe you can defend this stuff, and he was just questioning it. And I have to just say, you can, you definitely can. It's a definite. You can definitely defend this stuff. The QA personal defenders work, even though they're $250. You should be able to find a sale, $50 off sale. The Altera whole house plugs work. This stuff really does work at buffering it out. It's just the strength of the defenses are not good enough. And I've had times where I've buffered it completely out, and I've told y'all this. And now it's like I have 9 personal defenders over, I think I bought them over a 3-year period, probably a 3-year period. And they really work. Like the pain that I'm experiencing now, sometimes I forget how bad it was. It's a lot less, and my attackers have beefed up the directed energy. They've modified it and stuff like that. So I've really made them work hard. And it's just, these defenses do work, and there's always something that can work. I've spent a lot of money on it, but this is how I look at it, guys, and I've told y'all kind of on other videos, but I kind of want to, I know people can't go back to all my videos. I even have a hard time knowing what I talked about on like a video way back when. But the thing is, I've spent a lot of money on defenses, experimenting and whatnot, but I've been able to keep going to work. I've been able to keep going to work and keep, writing grants and, keep going out, and I can go see movies and stuff like that. If I didn't have any of these defenses, or I wouldn't have experimented with them, I really would be incapacitated. I would just be stuck in the house, and I wouldn't be going out and doing anything. So the money that I've spent helps me to keep making money. It helped me to keep on to keep getting, keep trying to get disability, keep fighting that, keep on, trying to get together with my family, which I'm doing a horrible job on. I never see them. And I've had a couple of friends who are calling me this weekend, and they're like, I'm trying to get in touch with you, and I'm not responding back to them. So I'm just like, So I need to do better on that, but it's not because I'm in intense amounts of pain. I really, psychologically, I think is where I'm kind of doing bad right now, because it keeps on going for so long, and I'm kind of getting despondent about all this, and it's just every day. And I've been going through it about 7 years from different people. It's really with this one song, I keep saying it's been about 5 years. It feels like 5 years, but I was looking back, and I moved to that house in 2013, I think March of 2013. So it's actually with this guy, this main stalker right now, it's only been like 3.5 years. It feels like 6 years with him. I know the whole period of time has been from about 6 to 7 years, but with just him, it's been about 3.5 years. And it's hard to believe, because it feels like it's been, just it feels like it's been a decade with just this guy. Because I guess when you're not having fun, time drags out. I just want to say that, these defenses do work. And, what I'm gonna do is I am probably gonna get another Q-Wave Defender. I don't know when, but I want to have 10. I want to have times 10 on my body, so then I can tell y'all kind of what that is. Because I was saying, if you had, a Q-Wave Defender to the 10th power on your body all the time, you'd be doing pretty good. And I do very, very well. When I'm awake, I'll feel little beams, they'll hit me, and I want to explain how this kind of works to y'all. So I have these Q-Wave Defenders on me. They create a field around my body. At my condo, I have tabletop defenders there and plugs to create a buffering, just a kind of a field inside of that condo. So I'll hear, I won't hear anything like that. That's one thing that I want to tell y'all right off the bat. The high-pitched sound, because I have so many Q-Wave Defenders on, I don't hear that anymore. They may be focusing on just the beams and the remote neural monitoring and the V2K, and they may have gotten off of the high-pitched sound because it's so hard to keep that up for them, because that, I really can defend that. So that's the first thing to be defended, that tinnitus sound. When you get stuff like a Q-Wave Defender, I guess that's a reflection in my glass. It looked like one of my eyes was like, it always looks like that to me, that it's like, ugh. But that's the first thing to be defended with